About is how to make $50,000 a month in your online coaching business. And a lot of people don't actually know how to do this. They think they do. They're like, well, I just need more leads and I'm going to be able to hit $50,000 a month. And that's great, but nobody actually breaks it down or understands the actual metrics or kind of bottlenecks in their business to be able to do that. And everybody's like, well, I'm just going to run ads and it's going to solve everything. And that's not the truth. Okay. So what we're going to do is kind of break it down. And I know nobody likes the term funnel, but we're going to kind of show you guys the typical funnel of what it really looks like to make $50,000 a month. Okay. So what you need to understand is that at the very, very top is your awareness. You are fighting for attention 24/7. And I don't care if you're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, OnlyFans, whatever it is, you're constantly fighting for attention. And you're competing against everybody else who has similar messages you do. So you're trying to figure out how do you differentiate yourself, okay? So that is the first thing, is before you worry about your messenger or sales script or any of that, you have to ask yourself this simple question. Am I getting people to watch and or consume my content? Is it good? Because if it's not, nothing else matters. Second thing, conversations. So of all the people that are following me, of all the people that are engaging in my content, am I actually turning them into potential leads? Okay. So for example, I said of 1,000 people that follow us or engage with us, what we usually see is about a 20% as far as turning into conversations. Okay, so let's say you have 1,000 people that follow you. You'll probably get about 20% of those people to turn into actual conversations. Now, of those conversations, a really low estimate, but I like to just ballpark, is about 10% of those conversations, which is low, but would turn into calls, which let's say is about 20. And then of the 20, let's say you close at, I think like at 30%, that's 6 clients. Okay. So obviously this isn't enough to get you to 50K. You know, if you're selling, let's say a 5K offer, right? 6 times 5 is 30. So that's 30K. So obviously if you wanted to make 50, you have to increase your inputs or outputs. But the point that I want to make is, aside from the numbers, a lot of people don't actually figure out where is the bottleneck. So all they look when they see this funnel is, am I getting clients or not? And what I like to do with anybody that I work with is ask myself these questions. Okay, you know, how many followers do you have right now? Or how many people are engaging in your content or are on your email list or Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Then I like to go, okay, on average, you know, how many conversations are you having a week? And they'll say 20, 30, 40, whatever it is. And then I'll ask them how many turn into calls. And then I'll ask them of the calls, how many turn into clients. Because then I'm taking the emotion out of it and I'm looking at pure data. Because a lot of times what I'll look at is they're having a ton of conversations, but the conversations aren't turning into calls. So what that tells me is there is a bottleneck, not necessarily in the calls itself, it's in their ability to be able to understand what somebody is going through to turn it into a potential call. So instead of focusing on scripts, what we have to do is peel the onion back and go, okay, let's look at some of your conversations and figure out what's going on, of where the disconnect is between your initial message to the conversation to booking a call. Because if you're not getting on calls, then it doesn't matter. So the same thing, guys, if let's say you're getting a ton of calls, but they're not closing, okay, let's listen to your calls. So you have to really be able to understand where the bottleneck is in your business to be able to fix it. Just saying, I want to get to 20 or I want to get to 50 or I want to get to $100,000 a month doesn't cut it. You really have to know where the issue is so you can plug that gap and then focus on everything else. Okay, on top of that, here's something I put together too that you guys need to understand. 50% of people, okay? So let's say this 1,000 people, 50% of people will never buy. They just won't, okay? 50%. 40% of people are in the slow lane, all right? So 40% of people of 100 are probably in the slow lane. Like they're probably problem aware. They're not necessarily solution aware. And then you have 8% of people who are actively looking. So they're problem aware, they're solution aware, they're kind of pricing around right now. They're not really sure what the right option is. If you're really good at sales, you probably could get them to sign up. And then you also have to understand there's 2% of people that are hot, ready to buy. The thing with the 2% is a lot of people just don't make offers to these people. I know, crazy. But there's a bunch of people, if you had a really strong offer and you just put it out to the marketplace, people would literally raise their hands and say, I want to buy. So what I would tell you guys to do is when we talk about your content, right, for the top of funnel, instead of focusing on the 50% of people that never will buy, focus on these people, right? Focus on these people, the 40% of people that are in the slow lane and the 80% of people that are actively looking. So they are in problem awareness mode. They don't know what the solution is yet, and that's where your content is going to come into play, because you're going to be speaking about what is the solution based off the problem that they have. So spend some time, with your content and create content that, what are the problems your prospects are facing, okay? And they're not going to be solution awareness in solution awareness mode. And that's where you can come into play. You are the solution. This is you. All right. You are solution awareness mode. So really, when we talk about the slow lane and the actively looking, focus on problems. So to give it some context, for me, like, I help people with, lead generation. So, the problem is that they need more leads, right? I need more leads. But they're not really sure what the solution is. So most of my content should be geared around leads, lead generation, and then positioning my offer, my mechanisms, my solution as a way to help them. But a lot of people they focus on topics that don't really matter, right? So broader topics. So what you want to do is just be very concise about what your messaging is like, hey, you're making $10,000 a month, you're tired of doing content, you want clients, you need leads, here you go. Instead of just making a generic thing that's like, oh, do you want 1,000 leads today? That's gross and nobody's going to want it. So guys, this is kind of a thing to look at. Really, what I love for everybody to do that's watching this is to spend some time this week and analyze your business and figure out where the bottleneck is, and then comment in this video what you believe the bottleneck is, and more importantly, what I like to see is what you're going to do to fix it. In addition, if you guys want to, there is a link at the bottom to schedule a one-on-one call with me or my team. And we also just launched a school community where you guys can learn how to sign up your first 1 to 3 high-ticket clients. And if you guys want information about that, there'll be a link in that below. But make sure to like it, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.